They invited me to stay for the holidays. I spent days cooking, cleaning, making everything perfect. On Christmas morning, my daughter's husband said, "Actually, we booked a resort trip. You'll have to let yourself out." The door locked behind me as I stood in the snow. 3 months later, I sent them a package that. I'm a 64-year-old woman. I spent most of my life working 12-hour hospital shifts, sometimes night after night, coming home smelling like antiseptic and cafeteria coffee. I raised 2 kids mostly on my own after my husband left me for someone 15 years younger. I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself. I had kids to feed, bills to pay, lives to save. Now I'm retired. I have arthritis in both knees, trouble sleeping, and a whole lot of quiet around the house. I keep myself busy, sewing, gardening, walking the neighbor's dog when she's at work, but the holidays are hard. Especially Christmas. I always wanted my kids to have the kind of holiday I never had growing up. My daughter Megan knew this. She called me in November, right before Thanksgiving. "Mom, we want you to come stay with us for Christmas. We'll fly you out. I want this year to feel special." I cried after we hung up. I hadn't seen her in over a year. She lives in Minneapolis with her husband Brad. I was so excited, I started making lists. Gifts, recipes, things to pack. I even bought new flannel pajamas with little snowflakes on them. I imagined waking up Christmas morning with the smell of cinnamon rolls in the oven, maybe watching a movie together like when she was little. That's not how it went. They picked me up from the airport December 19th. Megan smiled and hugged me. Brad said, "Hope you're ready to work some Christmas magic," and laughed. I thought he was joking. The moment we walked in, Megan handed me a list. I'm not kidding. A handwritten list, 2 full pages. Meal plans, grocery items, laundry rotation, even when to clean the guest bathroom. She said, "I know you love organizing. I'm just so overwhelmed with work, I figured this would help." I should have said something. But I didn't. I wanted to feel useful. I told myself it was temporary. So I got to work. Each day, I woke up before they did. I'd have breakfast started before 8 a.m. bacon, eggs, muffins from scratch. Brad liked green smoothies, so I made those too, even though they smelled like compost. After breakfast, I'd clean the kitchen, start laundry, plan dinner. I cleaned their oven. Their baseboards. I reorganized their coat closet. Brad kept saying things like, "You've still got it!" Like I was some retired maid coming out of storage. The worst part? They didn't help with anything. Megan was on her phone all the time. Brad kept disappearing for work calls. That sounded a lot like Xbox in the basement. They didn't talk to me much. Megan complained about her boss. Brad bragged about crypto. But they never asked how I was doing. Not once. I started to feel like I was just there. Like hired help, except no one was paying me and I had to sleep in a guest room with a mattress that sank in the middle like a hammock. Christmas Eve came and I was exhausted. I cooked a whole turkey, plus sides. Mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, cornbread stuffing, green bean casserole, all from scratch. Megan said she was cutting carbs, but still asked me to make a pie. I stayed up wrapping presents they hadn't touched. I found them still in their Amazon boxes in the laundry room. Brad was already asleep when I carried them all to the living room and started cutting paper and sticking bows on top. My back was killing me. At 2 a.m., I finally went to bed. I dreamed about sitting on the porch with a cup of tea, hearing Megan say thank you. Just once. But instead, I woke up to silence. It was Christmas morning. No music. No smells. No sound of footsteps or laughter. I thought maybe they were still sleeping. I went downstairs to turn on the tree lights. That's when I saw their suitcases. 2 roller bags by the front door. Coats and shoes lined up neatly. A travel tote packed with snacks and water bottles. I stood there, staring. Megan came downstairs wearing leggings and a sweater. Brad followed, keys in hand. Megan smiled. "Merry Christmas!" I said. "What's going on?" Brad stepped forward. "We're heading to Arizona." "Surprise! We booked a resort for a few days. Adults only. It was kind of a last-minute deal." I just stared at him. Megan said, "We really needed this trip, Mom. Just the 2 of us. You understand, right? You've been so helpful this week. Seriously. We couldn't have done it without you." I blinked. "Wait. You're leaving? Now?" Brad laughed a little. "Flight's in 2 hours. You'll have to let yourself out. Door locks behind you. Sorry we can't drop you at the airport, but we figured you'd call a cab." Megan hugged me like I was a coat she didn't need anymore. Then they walked out. I stood in the snow, wearing my snowflake pajamas and slippers. The door locked behind me with a little electronic beep. My suitcase was in the guest room. I had to knock just to get back in and grab it. They were already backing out of the driveway. I took a cab to a Motel 6. I didn't even unwrap the scarf Megan gave me. It was still in the gift bag when I got home. She texted me 3 times. Did you get back safe? I hope you're not upset. We just really needed this. Can we talk? I didn't respond. For weeks, I didn't respond. But I wasn't just sitting around being hurt. I was planning. After I got home to Missouri, I tried to let it go. I told myself to move on. Told myself that some kids just grow selfish, and there's nothing a mother can do about it. But it kept eating at me. Every time I opened my freezer and saw the leftovers I had packed to bring back, the ham, the stuffing, the pie I never even got to serve, I felt that same sting. I had worked like a maid for a week, and they left me out in the snow like I was a damn stranger. That's not something I could forget. What made it worse? Megan started sending me little updates after a few weeks. Pictures of their tan legs by the pool in Scottsdale. Smiling selfies in fancy restaurants. A video of Brad in a Santa hat sipping a cocktail. Then she had the nerve to write, "Thanks again for everything you did before we left. We came back to such a clean house. You're amazing." Like I was her cleaning lady. Not her mother. That's when the idea started forming. Not just the package, that came later. First, I wanted to see what they were hiding. I remembered something Brad said on Christmas Eve. He was pouring himself whiskey and bragging. Said, "I'm getting real creative with the write-offs this year. Everything's a business expense if you're clever." He laughed. Megan laughed too. I didn't. See, I may be retired, but I remember enough from filing my own taxes over the years to know that if you write off things that aren't for business, it's fraud. I went digging. Megan's Etsy shop was still open. She made hand-stamped jewelry. Nothing fancy, but it sold okay around the holidays. I found the link to her PayPal on the site. It was connected to the same email she used for everything, even the one she sent the Christmas itinerary from. That email was also tied to their shared Google Drive. And guess what? The dumbass left a spreadsheet wide open. Titled, 2024 Write-Offs. Inside were tabs by month. Meals, clothes, electronics, gas. Even things like his haircut and spa day with Megan were labeled. Client meetings. I started screen capturing everything. Every receipt. Every note that said, Etsy meeting. When it was obviously a vacation dinner. Then I saw something that made my stomach turn. Under the tab for December. Christmas groceries Mom handled. Write off as hospitality expense. He was writing off everything I paid for. Over $1,800 in groceries and house supplies that I had covered with my retirement check. He was planning to get reimbursed, or reduce his tax burden, using my money. That's when I knew this wasn't just about being left in the snow. This was theft. Disrespect. And they needed to feel it. But I didn't just want to call them out. That wouldn't change anything. Megan would cry, Brad would lie, and I'd be made out to be too emotional. No, I wanted them to feel stupid. I wanted them to feel small. I wanted them to panic. So I waited. In March, I called Brad pretending to be confused about a receipt I found. Said I wasn't sure if I should include it in my taxes. Just to see what he'd say. He said, "Oh, don't worry, Mom. I already added it under my write-offs. You're good." He laughed. Laughed. That laugh told me everything I needed to know. He thought I was weak. He thought I was old and dumb, and too nice to do anything. He was wrong. That same week, I started putting the real plan into motion. I printed every screenshot. I organized the receipts into a binder. I labeled every section by month, just like his spreadsheet. Then I made copies of the worst ones, the receipts that clearly had nothing to do with business. A $600 dinner in Sedona. A hot stone massage. The $180 Megan spent on yoga pants and labeled as uniform. I dropped the binder in the mail. Certified with tracking. Addressed to the IRS Fraud Investigation Office. Anonymous sender. But I wasn't done yet. At the same time, I created a clean, simple invoice for Megan and Brad. Titled, Holiday Domestic Support, December 19th to December 25th. Underneath, I listed each item. Groceries. Cleaning supplies. Baking tools. Wrapping paper. Ribbon. Travel items I bought for them because Megan said she didn't have time to shop. Total, $1,823.76 at the bottom I wrote. As requested, I completed all cooking, cleaning, and household duties during my stay. Please reimburse via PayPal or Venmo within 30 days. Then I mailed that to their house with a smiley face drawn at the bottom of the page. I didn't expect them to pay. I just wanted to shake the tree. And the best part? The IRS package hadn't even landed yet. I was just getting started. 2 weeks after I sent the invoice, I got a text from Megan. Mom, what is this? An invoice? Are you serious? I didn't answer. A day later she called. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail, her voice sharp, tense. This is really petty. I can't believe you're trying to charge your own daughter. You said you wanted to come. You offered to help. This is just cruel. Cruel? Cruel was standing in 20-degree wind on Christmas morning while they drove off to drink poolside cocktails. I waited. Then, on the third day, Brad called. I picked up. Hi, Mom. He said real smooth. Listen, we got your, paperwork. And look, I know you're upset. I get it. But this isn't really how families deal with things. I said nothing. Brad chuckled awkwardly. Megan's just super stressed. She's been crying. We didn't mean to hurt you. It was just poor timing, okay? Still, I said nothing. Then he slipped up. I mean, if we reimburse you, that's basically admitting look, what are you trying to do here? There it was. He was already worried. He knew. His voice was tight, and his fake calm was cracking. He kept rambling, trying to sound in control. So I said just one thing. You'll want to talk to your accountant before you say anything else. And I hung up. 3 days later, I got a notice from USPS that the IRS package had been received and signed for. I smiled. A week after that, things started to fall apart fast. Megan posted a photo on Facebook. Just her and Brad sitting at their kitchen table, no makeup, no filter, looking miserable. Caption read, "Sometimes life throws unexpected storms." Then came the private message. Mom, I need to know what you did. We're being audited. I didn't answer. But it got worse. Megan's Etsy shop got locked. Apparently, once the IRS starts digging, they freeze anything linked to the person being investigated, especially if it involves business income. She couldn't access her funds, and orders were piling up. One of her customers actually emailed me by mistake. She had clicked a "Contact shop owner" button on the old receipt, which still had my name on it from when I helped Megan set up the shop years ago. She wrote, "Hi, I ordered a bracelet a month ago and haven't heard anything. Just checking if this shop is still active." I forwarded it to Megan with no message. A few days later, Megan's tone changed. "Mom, please. Brad is in trouble at work. They got a notice about the audit. His boss says it's a bad look. If he loses this job." I didn't answer that either. Then, out of nowhere, I got a Venmo alert. Payment from Brad, $1,823.76, no note. I laughed out loud. But I wasn't done. Because something had started gnawing at me. Back when I was scrubbing their floors, I remember seeing a locked drawer in Brad's office. It had a keypad. Looked fancy. I figured it was for documents or tax files. But a week ago, while scrolling through public tax complaints, yes, I got very familiar with IRS processes, I found something interesting. Brad had applied for a COVID small business relief grant last year. Said he needed it to sustain operations. Claimed he had 3 employees. Megan and him are the only ones working. And I sure as hell never saw 3 employees. So I filed a whistleblower report. You can't claim fake payroll and pocket the money. If they look deeper into that drawer, into his grant documents, he could be facing felony charges. I knew this wasn't just petty anymore. This was real. But even then, I still hadn't touched the one thing that mattered most, their reputation. Megan and Brad weren't just some average couple. They were aspirational. She had a blog. Lifestyle content. All pastel and fake gratitude. How to host a clean holiday was one of her posts. Brad liked to do videos on financial literacy for young couples. He once told me, "I'm basically building a personal brand." So I had one more move to make. I made a fake account. Nothing crazy. Just something clean, a blank Facebook with a single post. Then I started posting screenshots. Her Etsy, client gifts, yoga pants, spa visits, wine tastings. All tagged as business expenses. Brad's uniform, expenses, new watches, designer shoes, golf clubs. I posted them with no captions, just images. Enough to make people wonder. Within a week, Megan had locked her blog. Brad deleted his LinkedIn and set his Instagram to private. Then came the message from an old family friend, someone from church. Is everything okay with Megan and Brad? Someone's been posting weird stuff. I didn't want to ask publicly. I just replied. I think they're just going through a rough patch. No lies. No drama. Just letting it unravel. And they still had no idea how far I was willing to take it. Because I wasn't finished. Not yet. By April, Megan had gone completely silent. Her blog was gone. Etsy shop? Still locked. Brad's branding site redirected to an error page. I knew from a neighbor that they had stopped leaving the house much. Megan even skipped her friend Danielle's baby shower. And Megan never missed a photo op like that. But I still hadn't seen the full fallout yet. That came in May. I was out in my backyard, watering my tomatoes, when my phone rang. Unknown number. Normally I wouldn't answer, but something told me to pick up. It was a woman from the office of the Inspector General. She introduced herself politely and said she was doing a follow-up on an anonymous report. I stayed calm, kept my answers short. She didn't ask much. Just verified the timeline, Brad's full name, and the dates tied to the COVID business grant. Then she thanked me. Said the case was now under formal review. That same week, Megan's name showed up in a Facebook group I'm in, one for handmade sellers. Someone shared a screenshot showing that Megan's Etsy shop had been permanently banned due to serious violation of seller terms and false tax information. Then the final card dropped. An old coworker of mine, Tanya, called me in a rush. Did you see it? She asked. See what? She sent me a link to a news story out of Minneapolis. Local couple under IRS investigation for fraudulent tax filings, abuse of federal grant program. Brad's full name was right there in the article. Megan's name was listed as an associated business partner. There was even a grainy photo of them at some holiday event, both smiling like politicians. The story said they were under investigation for misusing small business funds, claiming fake employees, and writing off personal expenses. IRS had frozen their accounts and seized documents from their home. It didn't stop there. Brad's company released a statement. Said they had terminated him for cause. Megan's name was mentioned again, now tied to a potential civil suit for Etsy tax fraud. She was looking at fines. He was facing possible charges. It was all public. Everything they built. The social media, the personal branding, the lifestyle image, was collapsing. And then came the phone call. Blocked number. I answered. It was Megan. Her voice didn't even sound like hers. It was small. Shaky. Mom, please. She started crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was stupid. We both were. I didn't know he was doing all that. I thought it was just little stuff. I thought it was fine. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't think you'd turn on me like this. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just told the truth. You locked your mother out of your house on Christmas morning, after she spent days cooking and cleaning for you, and you left her standing in the snow like garbage. You laughed about writing off her money. That was the moment I stopped being your doormat. She sobbed harder. I've lost everything. I don't know what to do. Please. There was a long silence. Then I asked one question. Did you learn anything? More silence. Yes. I hung up. No goodbyes. No forgiveness. Just the truth hanging in the air like smoke. A few weeks later, I got a letter. Handwritten. From Brad. He tried to sound calm. Said he knew I was behind it. That I'd overreacted. That he respected my loyalty to ethics. But thought I should have handled it privately. At the end, he wrote, You won't break us. We'll bounce back. I didn't reply. I just slipped the letter into a folder marked Evidence. Then poured myself a cup of tea. It's June now. I keep things quiet. I walk the neighbor's dog, tend my tomatoes. My arthritis still acts up, but my heart? It feels lighter. Stronger. I spent 64 years putting everyone first. I cooked, cleaned, stayed quiet, let people take and take and take. But not anymore. Megan and Brad didn't just get a lesson in humility. They got to feel what it's like to be used, discarded, and ignored. And that sting? It stays with you. I don't hate them. I don't wish them pain forever. But I do hope they remember one thing for the rest of their lives. Some mothers may forgive anything. But this mother? She remembers. And she finishes what she starts.